have you here.
Yeah, it's so great to be in your energy space. Like I said, divine timing. I figured, whatever we needed to talk about, it's meant to be. So whether we have to push back a little or reschedule, like it was gonna be fine.
I love that. I love you. Really. I feel you. It's also I felt you a lot with your emails. And you have a very nice energy, beautiful energy.
Thank you. I'm all about energy. So you also have this like very like light, just kind of brightness.
So nice. A mirror, a mirror.
Mhm.
And plus you have a very nice background there.
Yes, mushrooms are my jam. So,
Mm.
you know, that next level of consciousness that we tap into.
Very nice, very nice. No, it took us a while, to be able to find a spot. Right?
Yes.
Like
But I'm
the
glad we did. Yeah, I'm glad we did.
Yes, yes, because it was like, no, you can you. And then we had also, I think we had a lot of time difference issues, but issues because it's not so late, and I thought it was going to be much later. It's 7:30 p.m. It's not
Yeah,
late.
1:30 here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Where are you? Where are you based?
I'm in Maryland. Where
In
are you?
Maryland. Okay.
Yeah.
In Barcelona, Spain. I
That's where
love.
one of my mentors was.
What was that?
One of my mentors,
Ah, yes.
she's in,
Ah,
I don't think it's Barcelona, but I think she's in Spain somewhere. Yeah.
nice,
Yeah.
nice. Ah, it's so beautiful how today you can be connected anywhere.
Yeah.
I know we are connected anyhow, no? Like
Right.
we are
Fifth
oneness.
dimensionally.
Yeah, we are connected, but it's nice to be able to see each other and yes, to see each other and connect through a virtual window.
Right. Yeah.
At the end, it's anyhow, it's a virtual window, but feels so close.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Zoom, they really knew what they were doing when they when they helped us connect in these different ways.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me a little bit about you, Diamond. And you have a beautiful name in addition. Diamond. It's a
Thank you.
brilliant name.
Thank you.
Brilliance.
I have to thank my aunt for that one, apparently.
Mm.
That was one of the names on the list that she had suggested to my mom
Uh,
when she was trying to figure out what to name me. Um so so what is feeling safe to come through right now is that it was easy for me to push back today,
mhm,
uh, our time to meet, because since about 8:30 this morning, I've been in a very intense conversation with my partner around
mm,
trust and
mm,
things of that nature. And
mhm.
so that is a and that speaks to, and this is, I guess this is something that tells you about me, but I've been
Yeah.
on my own personal healing journey for a while, but with these tools that I use that we discussed, human design and gene keys, like
Mhm,
it speaks to the difference in person that I am now. Cause there was a time, I'll give context because that way it's just easier.
yeah.
So my partner and I, we had some infidelity issues in our
Mhm,
relationship. He cheated on me. And it's always been this kind of battle of like him trying to get back in my good graces, but then doing something that then like
mm,
messes it up. And we share a child together. She's
mm,
7 now. So
mm,
and so recently I've been learning more about how these tools can help in relationship and show you the things that are triggered in you based off of how you react to your partner. And just being able to look at the stark difference of before I was very much in my ego. Like even today, during certain parts of our conversation, I referred to the different dualities of me. I was like, there's the ego, small me that is hurt
Mm-hmm.
and betrayed right now
Mm-hmm.
and wants to teach you a lesson and wants to let you know that this is unacceptable. And then there's the awakened, more conscious, soul part of me who understands, we're here to have, like, you especially are here to have a very personal journey and to figure these things out, to bump into things and to learn
Yeah.
lessons through this bumping into things. And so that part of me is very forgiving and is very understanding, and just being able to see how far I've come,
Mm-hmm.
but also seeing the work that still needs to be done,
Mm-hmm.
because there are certain parts of me where, like, I'm an emotional being. And so right now, one of the things that I'm able to recognize that I need and ask for is space, because I voiced everything I needed to say.
Yeah.
You voiced, what you needed to say. And now I have a feeling of how I think I feel, but I need
Mm-hmm.
time to make sure that I'm clear on how I'm feeling. I need time to process the emotions. I need time to process the answers you gave me. I need time. And I'm not mad. There
Mm-hmm.
was a time
Yeah.
where the ego me would be mad and I would be trying to figure out a way to get back at you.
Yeah.
And I'm recognizing that that's just energy that I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
extend
Mm-hmm.
anymore. Like, I have so many other things that I'm trying to build and trying to create these catalysts for it. Like, I don't have the energy to figure out how I can go back to a relationship just to get back. Like, I don't have
Yeah.
time for it. So I
Yeah.
need, right? So it's just, so that's, I guess, a little bit about me. Other fun facts that I normally say about me were that I did participate in a clinical trial that used psilocybin that actually healed my depression. And
Mm.
um I are you familiar with the human design language?
I think so, but
Yeah, I think so.
familiar, but not.
Not
I don't
in depth.
know. No,
Not you didn't go down the
no,
rabbit hole.
no,
Okay.
not yet, not
Okay,
yet.
not yet. So then I'll refrain from what I just learned about some of my family generational things that I learned yesterday. And instead lead with, you know, my mom was undiagnosed borderline personality disorder with
Mm-hmm.
narcissistic tendencies.
Mm.
And that that caused me to take on a lot of stuff that wasn't mine.
Mm-hmm. I imagine. I imagine.
And I'm in this beautiful place of learning to figure out how to separate those things
Mm-hmm.
and recognize what's mine and what I'm here to do, what purpose I'm here to tap into in this lifetime.
Mm.
So very deep in this 10 minutes that we've been talking.
But I love it. I love it because you're so open-hearted. I love that. You're so just you. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. It's a beautiful such you have such a gift to be you and to open yourself up and no matter what in trust in
Yeah.
with a lot of trust. And that I'm very grateful for that, and I appreciate it a lot because you have given me a gift, and you have yeah, you have seen something in me to do that, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. Really.
Yeah,
Thank
I feel
you.
something in your aura. I don't know what it is, but I feel the safety there.
Yeah, I love it. I appreciate. I'm really blessed because yes, I thank you for that. Really, really. And yes, and yeah, you are going through a lot, but in all of that, I love it. I love you and your capacity to observe, your
Yeah.
awareness. No, because today I think if we are here to grow, no? And observation awareness is key for us to grow. And the mind and our thoughts might be saying many things, like the ego and all the things, but it's for us to know how to discern what really comes from the ego, or who we really are, not through this observer that is saying, okay, this is my ego talking, because these thoughts are just the blah 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 blah, and the pushback and the aggression and all those things. No, lay back, staying calm, because you are here to learn, and the relationship is showing you something, no?
Yeah.
For you to take in, integrate, and choose whatever it is, no? But it's showing you something of yourself, no? Because relationships are here.
And
We
they're our
are,
biggest teachers.
yeah,
They are.
we are. Our life has to have relationships for us to grow.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm seeing now how they're the biggest teachers. Like even having, I don't think there are many areas in my life where I'm able to so clearly now see where the ego is trying to like
Mhm.
rear its ugly head and
Yeah.
just kind of cause problems. And it reminds me of this past summer, there's a local nonprofit in DC that they're all about, elevated consciousness and getting you out of your ego and into your, soul connection
Mm-hmm.
and things like that, and connecting to a higher power, no matter what that is for you, if it's the universe, if it's God, whatever.
Yes.
And they had a Kemetic high priest there, and his name is Master Eshep. And he is so esoteric sometimes
Mm-hmm.
that it took me a moment, a couple weeks, honestly, like more than a moment, but it took me a couple weeks to really kind of start to understand him. And it was only until I started diving deeper into like my healing journey that I was able to make sense of some of the things. Because he would say things like, people would ask him questions and he'd be like, well, my person, says this, and he'd
Mm.
make these distinctions between we and at first it tripped me out because I'm like, what are you talking what are you talking about? But now, especially like having moments like today, that level of awareness that he must be in, even I haven't dove that deep into like Akashic records and things like that.
Yeah.
I'm getting certified and being able to read them right now, but
Yeah.
I'm not, as deep as he's taken it. But like
Mm-hmm.
he's a believer so much so that he's like, well, my person, like he I guess in a reading, he was, or maybe a psychedelic experience, he was
Yeah.
told what day or what year he was going to die.
Mm.
So he always has this marker, like even with goals and things that he's trying to accomplish at the temple. He's like, I want to get these things in place by X year because, my person is leaving here. And
Yeah.
just like being able to to have that, not as a
So
goal,
they
because
detach, no? Detach
yeah,
from
but
this.
have that detachment and have that level of awareness of what's coming up for you. Like that's what I aspire to be, not to that extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, I had to be doing my own work in order to be able to relate to him on a personal level. And, that's, I don't want other people to have to do that with me. Like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? Right?
Well, you would do it maybe in a different way.
Yeah, like
Everyone has their
that's
way.
the goal, but
Yeah.
like in a different
Yeah, in a different way.
package. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because at the end, well, he's a minister or whatever. He said, and he's preaching or so
Yeah.
it's his way, no. But in your case, the ones you have to impact are different kind of people, so you would express it differently. But yes, reality is that it's this awareness of us knowing there's a persona, the avatar or whatever that it's called.
Yeah.
But we know it's not, we know we are beyond that.
Yeah.
No, because we observe and we know there's all these thoughts, there's this movement. So and you are here to accomplish, well, to grow at the end, no, to
Yeah.
be who you are,
Yeah.
whatever it means, and with your skill, uniqueness, and everything, not to impact. So this is the awareness of learning and unlearning to be who you are.
Yeah. Oh, yes, that part, right? Because from the moment that we're born, these things are taught to us about who we should be and how we should show up in the world. And that's the part that's really interesting for me, like this whole deconditioning process. And that's why I'm able to give myself so much grace, because like I'm 29, like I just turned 29 in July. And so there are people like my aunt, she just turned 80 in March. And I've had the wonderful privilege of attempting to get her to understand some of these soul level things about herself, and get her to have these ahas around, oh, this could be looked at from a different perspective, etc. I don't know how much she's going to change, because the conditioning is so deep, like around the family, around, you know, friends, society, like all of her beliefs that she's been fed over the years. Like she watches the news every day, like multiple times a day. Like I
manipulation, yeah.
yeah. But just being able to recognize and celebrate, like, at least I'm only undoing, you know, 28 years of learning, and I still have decades to to be who is authentic to who I am, like to be that authentic expression of my truth.
Yes, yes, yes. But it's what you did. It's beautiful with your aunt, because your aunt was open to hear you out, and to just by hearing you out and being there, you already changed things in her.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know that. I see it with my mom, and my mom lately, um, at the beginning when I started being more open with her, and so she was saying, "Ah, Jeannette, you're crazy. Oh, Jeannette, you hear what I say." And 2 or 3 years later, she's now listening more, you know, and she says, she sends me things and says, "You said that," the things that are happening, and so no. So really, it's nice, because by being who you are in integrity, with your beliefs, or well, or unbeliefs,
Yeah.
let's say, no, with your unbeliefs,
Unbelief. Yeah.
it's really impacting. At the end, you're not pushing information to others to change them. You're just sharing when you feel it's okay to share, and you are just being who you are. So it ripples out, it impacts, and you see in certain changes in people around you, that they're opening more themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the part that excites me, because in starting this experiment, I realized how much we believe the things that we've learned about ourselves. And it just takes, you know, seeing someone do it differently. Like I'm sure people in your network, right? Like you had conditioning. You seem very aligned now. But right, there was a time where
Yes.
conditioned self was more prevalent than the awakened self.
Yes.
And in going through your journey, right, you created this catalyst, even when you talk about your mom about being open. And that's one of the beautiful things that we get to do in this lifetime. And I just, it makes me happy when people are able to step confidently toward this awakening, and have less of that doubt or shame or whatever stuff, whatever that stuff is.
It's just the awakening. We can talk about it's the liberation. For me, it's the freedom. It's the freedom. It's the undressing. of so many things that when you start undressing and you say, "Oh, I'm feeling so light," no, I'm feeling, oh, how nice. Now I feel more about myself. No, I feel more air. I feel
Yeah.
so. This is liberating yourself. That at the end you're acting differently and responding to things differently because you have less clothes on you. No, and so you are moving differently and everything that impacts around you for other people to start, oh, let me see if I take this sweater out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe I feel like her, no, she's shining and somehow let me take, well, the scarf.
Right.
I start with the scarf, no?
Right.
But and then but it's this starting to undress and getting lighter because it's an experience. If you don't experience it, you don't know what it means. So if I take the sweater out, I'm experiencing what it feels to be now with a
Right.
shirt.
With just the shirt. Yeah.
It's the shirt, but it's a different experience, no? And then it lighter. So it's really this impacting and through experiencing and through being, no, through
Yeah.
allowing yourself to take the sweater out.
Yeah.
No, Jeannette, it's cold. How are you going to take the sweater out? Oh, no, but it
The
feels so
mind, right?
good. You feel so good. No?
Right. The mind with all its what ifs trying to be certain. It's like, but what if? But I think that's one of the beautiful things. Like for some people, it's scary to trust
Mhm.
in the unlearning of the things, but especially for people who value like control, like we all as humans value control. Like we
Yeah,
think like if
we're
we plan
taught.
enough, right? If we plan enough, then it has to go according to plan, even though we know
Yeah.
life is happening while we're making plans. But we have this illusion of control. And one of the things that I've seen is really difficult for some people, my aunt is one of them, is this idea like of releasing control and surrendering
Mm-hmm.
to the process of just
Mm-hmm.
being your authentic expression
Yeah.
of your truth. And that's one of the things that honestly, like at first, it was going over my head of like, you know, the like for example, in human design, there's the magnetic monopole
Yeah.
that's like bringing you opportunities, people, things in order for you to use your strategy and authority to like decide whether it's right for you. And when I first learned about it, I was like, yeah, things are being, you know, pulled to you one way. But the surrender after like a year of being in the experiment now of like, okay, things are being pulled to me. And instead of being in my mind and going through that, what if I take the sweater off? What if I take the scarf off? Like, then I'm going to be cold. Like, instead of being like exerting energy, our
Mm-hmm.
precious life force energy, being in that space, feeling the beauty of surrender of like, no, like this is for you to feel into it. Like this is for you to get out of here, let go of the small version of ourselves and just take each thing, each opportunity, each person, each feeling, each emotion in that present moment and assess, be in your awareness enough to assess whether it's the right move for you. Like that is so like to know that we have no control
Mm-hmm.
at all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's a
Mm-hmm.
matter of divine timing and
Yeah.
just responding to the different things that are being brought to you. Like that's so, as you said, liberating. That's one of the things that came up like when you first started using that word liberation is like that's liberating to like give up like this it's to give up that illusion that we hold on to that places these limitations
Mm-hmm.
on
Yes.
our
Put
potential, on
limitations.
ourselves. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. As I said, the mind is limiting. It's if you are all the time in the mind, controlling, expecting, setting goals. You're not allowing the moment, not the beingness, to create in the moment by choosing what feels in the moment because you're not you're not deciding anymore because of now. You're deciding because you want to go there and what your mind is saying. So not because you are feeling now certain way and the intuition is telling go to the right. No, I have to go to the left because that's the goal. I have to go to the left. No, go to the right. No. I go to
No,
the
I know
left.
what's right. Go. I'm gonna go to the left.
So yes, and once you do, okay, I'll go to the right because that's what I feel and I trust what you were saying. Intuition, liberation happens because you will see where you went, where you are going, no, where you are walking. You are saying, "Wow, I did not imagine this. I knew what I was going to go when I was there, but this I never imagined." So if I would have known, I would have gone already there. No,
Right.
but I didn't know because I was limiting myself. So it's really being the moment and choosing from there. It's really very liberating. And plus, when you are seeing backwards, you say, wow, how did I come here? This is amazing. I didn't expect this. No, you didn't expect this because you didn't put the mind, no?
Yeah.
Because if you did expect it, you wouldn't be here.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And I think that's a beautiful way of looking at it and flipping the perspective of it because like you said, when we look back, we're like, I couldn't have even imagined. And that's exactly right. Like
Mm-hmm.
we can, and this is one of the things that I've been learning in this personal journey of like releasing the attachment. It's like it's great to have goals. It's great to have, you know, these
Mm-hmm.
things that we measure with, but also releasing attachment to like that's exactly the way it's supposed to look.
Mm-hmm.
And just allowing for that beautiful surprise to happen, like
Yeah.
no matter whether because there's an actual energy type where surprise is their signature theme. It means that things are in alignment, but there's this beautiful like synergy that happens when you just kind of trust is
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. It's just trusting and the being in the now. Yeah. But tell me a little bit because that's part of who you are. And you have made me curious. I'm asking because of that, no? Um the human design.
oh okay yeah
How are you using it and everything? Because since you've mentioned it a little bit, and that it's part of who you are, I would love to know a little bit more about that.
yeah so the way that I use it in my everyday now is being able to be in my awareness of what's coming up for me. So when our soul had an imprint of information that helped form our unconscious personality
Mm-hmm.
88 days before we were born, while
Mm-hmm.
we were still in utero.
Mm-hmm.
And then at our exact time of birth, this other, it's referred to as a crystal. It's my apologies. This
Uh-huh.
other, I thought you heard that notification, but there's this, it's
No,
referred
no.
to as a crystal and it gets implanted at your exact time of birth and it forms your personality side. And so these are things that you're conscious of, people see outwardly in you. And there are different elements. The most important ones are your strategy, your authority, your profile, and then, you know, your incarnation cross. I'd say probably that's like those are the top ones. And so what I'm able to glean from mine, for example, and I'd love to
Mm-hmm.
take a look at yours since we're
Mm-hmm.
here. I know you know
Mm-hmm.
your time of birth. Um, but what I'm able to do from mine, I'm a 5-1 emotional generator.
Mm-hmm.
And so the 5 is like a solutions person.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, because this is something that people see in me, it's in my aura, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Like people will project things onto me that actually I might not have a solution for. So I have
Mm-hmm.
to be really clear about the expectations that I'm setting for what people expect of me. And then the one line is the investigator, the researcher, the person who loves to build a strong foundation of knowledge before they feel safe. They need that foundation, they need that stability. And so it's interesting enough, during our conversation earlier, I was recognizing why I was feeling so triggered because of my one line, because, you know, I thought we were building this strong foundation. And now I look and, you know, matching dates and figuring things out, I'm like, maybe it wasn't so strong, but I felt like we were strong, and it creates that kind of doubt. So 5-1s pair really well together, because obviously if you are constantly going down rabbit holes of information and learning things, you're gonna have solutions for people. Like, you're gonna learn different things. And then the generator piece speaks to my strategy. So in life, I am to respond to things that come to me. And when opportunities present themselves, there's like this uh-huh or that happens in my body, not in my head, right?
Yeah.
Of course it happens in my head too, but it happens in my body. And so being in your awareness enough to know what your body is telling you when things are presented to you in a certain way is super helpful. I have an extra layer of waiting
Yeah.
because my authority is emotional authority, which just means that I live my life through my emotions, which, as we know, with emotions, it's a roller coaster. We're up, we're down, we're doing loop-de-loops all over the place. And so for me to make my best, most aligned decisions, I need to, one, be in my awareness enough to know whether or not there's an there or an there, to know whether or not I have the energy for it. And then I need to sleep on it
Yeah.
to make sure that throughout the wave, still feel that way.
True. Yeah.
And so being able, like, when you know this level of information about yourself, you're able to ask for what you need. And one of the things that I asked, like, you know, we had the discussion, feelings were said, emotions were had, and then we came to this point of like, well, what now? Because we've already kind of talked it out, we've hashed it out, and now it's just a matter of setting an action plan so that we can be on the same page again, if that's what we both choose to want
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
And one of the things I was able to say was, I need like a day. Like, you know, and for my partner, this is where, like, knowing other people's design help is helpful too. My partner is a sacral being. And so that means he doesn't have a defined solar plexus. So like where I need time, he's like, I'm ready now. Like, I want to talk about it now. Like, I'm ready to do it now. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Why are you here? And one day? No.
um, but being able to ask for what I needed, like, we came to, like, it didn't end in yelling, it didn't end in tears, it didn't end ugly, as it were. But there's still this element of needing to process my emotions in order to figure out what I want to do moving forward from an emotionally clear place. Um, and so just being able to ask for what I need in that way, knowing your design is helpful. And then also knowing, like, what gifts your soul chose in this lifetime to be successful, and being able to, like, reference those. So one of the things that I just went through a training about, like, relationships, and I'll bring my daughter in because I'm talking a lot about him and I don't really want to talk about him right now. But my daughter, in this most recent class that I went to about quantum human design, which brings in
Oh,
the
wow.
energy
Nice.
dynamics
Yes, yes.
more than the traditional human design,
Yeah.
we learned this what is it, analogy, I guess, is what is the proper phrasing. And so based on, like, what you're feeling in your body, you can actually kind of tell what the needs are of your partner, of and so it was, and it was funny because when it was when I was watching the replay for the class, because I couldn't attend in person, I was also actively in a situation where my daughter, who is a manifesting generator, so, and she has a defined will center, and so she's a very strong, willful child. She And some of her design creates this picture that she needs this sense of power in order for her to feel like she's okay. And in the emotional response analogy, they use, or acronym, it's not analogy, it's like it starts with an A, but analogy seems wrong. Acronym, it's PAIR. And so the P is for power, the A is for attention, the I is for inadequacy, and the R is for revenge. And when Karen Curry Parker teaches about quantum human design. So when I say Karen, I'm talking about her. So Karen talks about the R being like the last resort. Like you have to have had like years of repeated not having energy needs met and things like that in order for the R, that revenge, that to want to come into play. And so it was even interesting to notice that in relationship earlier of like, we've known each other for 10 years and we've been doing this song and dance in a matter of ways for at least 8 of those years, like of this trust piece. And so it's so easy sometimes for us to have that emotional response of like wanting to hurt them back. But so the pair stands for what they need. And so based on what you're feeling in your person, it's speaking to what they need. So if you feel like you need to overpower them, then they are needing power in some way. If you feel irritated and annoyed by them, they need attention.
So the other way around.
Right? It makes sense. Like everything she was saying, it was making sense. If you feel like you want to pity them or you just want to help them, you just want to fix it all, they are having this feeling of inadequacy. And like I said, the R is revenge. But if you're feeling like you want to hurt them back, then there's this revenge dynamic at play. And so we were doing my daughter's hair and we put in braids. I don't know.
Yeah, beautiful. I saw it.
Hopefully I can make some shorts from these, but we wear braids in our hair for a number of different reasons. And so, I don't know if you know this or our listeners know this, but to do that, this took me, and I have part of my hair cut out,
a lot.
About 4 hours.
Yes, incredible.
About 4 hours. Hers, she has a full head of hair and it's very thick hair. So it usually takes me and my partner about 8 hours.
Wow.
To do her hair. And if we're washing it that day as well, you can expect about 10.
Wow.
So when that is happening, she is in a place where you don't move. Like you don't have me. We're in this for the long haul. If we could do it in 6 hours because we're locked in and we're able to just spend the time and lock in, like we would. But like she needs breaks, she needs, etc. And so there were moments where she was trying to exert her power and she was trying to be a little bossy and she was complaining and and it was causing these feelings, right? If we're looking at the acronym, it's making me feel like I want to overpower you. Like, no, you can't do that. You can't take a break. Like, I want to take a break. You can't take a break. Or, when she would get breaks, me and my partner, we would go somewhere else because we just been listening to you complain for 2 hours about you want to do this and that, and we want to break from you. But then you come around and you're like asking a bunch of questions. One of the most annoying questions she asked, and this comes from her, like, I think she has an undefined G center. My partner has open, she has undefined. And so that's the center for love, identity, and direction. And so one of the most irritating questions sometimes for me from her is she'll ask, do you love me? And I'm like,
sure.
I've answered this question a number of times. I also act like I love you. Like if we look at so for you to ask me, but what she's needing in those moments where I feel irritated and annoyed by her question is attention.
Yes. A hug, attention.
And so it made sense, but being able to recognize like where your lacks are, where your conditioning is coming in, like that's one of the things that has helped me, obviously personally, because I'm bringing up a lot of personal examples, but also in business of like especially around the ego heart center. You know, I talked about my daughter's being defined, and that makes her very willful and very sure of herself and very sharp. Um, but for like 53% of the population, we don't have that center defined. And so we struggle with self-worth. We struggle with self-esteem. We struggle with making commitments to people because we don't want to seem flaky. We want to, you know, create this persona for ourselves. And so in business, a lot, there's so much noise. This is one of the things that I've like recently, but in business, there's so much noise around how to build a successful coaching business.
Yes.
There's so much.
How to anything, how to be successful here, there, and everywhere.
Right? And so when you're not achieving, right? And then of course the cultural context of success, having more things, you know, as in society, when you have more money, that means more security. So that means, you know, contentness,
Yeah.
happiness. People associate all of those things. So when you don't have those things, it's easy to like beat yourself up about it. And the inner critic can get really loud and it can deter you from doing things. But in being able to understand my design and being able to understand that that's a weak point for me. Being able to understand like I'm more likely to look outside of myself for validation than to look inside, and being able to reverse that narrative. And also what we were talking about earlier, just trust that if I'm showing up, if I'm creating the good karma that I know my soul is here to create those sparks to help people understand, like if I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to and just trust that things are going to come, like that helps release
Yes.
some of that stuff that can come from that undefined open heart center. um but yeah, that's a little bit about human design and
No,
how
but
I use it in my everyday.
yeah. No, it's very interesting, and everything goes around awareness.
Absolutely.
It's a tool for you to have pinpoints where to look and compare and well, where to see where you are, but
Yeah.
through the awareness, through the observation, no?
Yeah.
Because it shows you certain patterns, or certain ways of being, so that you can observe how you're acting, if you're acting them out or not, patterns and all those things that you are able to unlearn and take out now, because we have them from ancestors and parents and everyone. So it's really the observation is to undress
Yeah.
ourselves
Yeah.
in our humanness.
Yeah. And that's
Mm.
exactly what I love. It creates that deeper level of understanding and awareness.
Yes, to be who we are,
Yeah. Who we really are, not who we're
who
told
we
to be.
no, who we really are, who we are, who we already are,
Yes.
not
Right?
who we
There's
are
that
told.
language around forgetting, right? Who
Hmm.
we really are versus like we're walking around sleepwalking,
Yeah,
forgetting
yeah.
who we are.
We're walking around looking outside to what they're telling us from the outside, and not looking from the inside out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's been one of my biggest lessons is recognizing all of the areas where I do tend to look outwardly and recognizing the areas and, you know, entry points of society, friends, what my family told me of, you know, why I believe those
Mhm.
things and being able to separate from that. It's been, as we have coined it, liberating.
Thank you, Diamond. Really, really, I love it. You have a beautiful energy, really expansive, a lot of light and a beautiful energy, and you're so shining. Your laughter, your smile. I appreciate that. I really thank you so much for sharing who you are with me.
Thank you. Thanks for making it easy.
Mm, I love that. I appreciate you a lot. And I hope we continue another day, another
Yeah.
co-creation. and with
Yes.
many more things, because you really are beautiful. Thank you so much for you, also for your impact.
I received that.
Take it. Thank you.